Hey everybody, look who's back! It's Kaiju Noir! Half the
Oh
people.
my god, I think I know that guy.
Well, sadly, I don't think anyone knows you on my channel because I've had so many. It's been an age since you and I have done a video like for real. You and me
It's
have
been a
not.
while.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's been a legit long time now. If anyone doesn't, who's new here on the subscribers, um, my good friend here, Kaiju Noir, is the creator of Draco Azul, a indie kaiju mecha comic. Really cool stuff. And he's been a solid friend of mine for years. Um, and he's actually been helping me with some new editing software to use on here, so I don't be a freaking Neanderthal.
I mean, I just remember it's like when I was offering to help you, update your stuff to kind of like with programs that I've been using for a while now. I was like, listen, man, we got to get you out of the 2005 and bring you up to speed up to 2025.
I
And I
know,
remember you were like, man, I feel like I'm more like I'm in 1825 instead.
I know. Like technology and I don't get along to begin with, and
Hmm.
it's always been a thing where I'm like, if I try something new, it always feels like it backfires on me or something of that degree. And the last time I tried to use editing software, I had the biggest freaking virus hit
Ooh.
me. So that's why I always get like I drag my heels on stuff because and maybe it's like on the spectrum thing too, where it's like, you know, why do I need to change? I'm doing good right now. Why do I need
Yeah,
it?
it's like our old buddy Dylan once said, change is bad because it's different and scary.
Exactly. God, I missed it. No one's gonna get this. No one.
No.
No. Any of my subscribers who have not been here since 2010, um, they're not gonna know who these people are. We're gonna bring up like other people in this conversation. I know it, but no one's. It's like who is Dylan?
Yeah, like what do you mean the signs is sound? Or what the heck are you referencing?
Uh,
Um,
that was it was a golden age. Honestly, it was.
God, honestly, yeah, you know Patrick Galvin, right?
Oh yeah, the world's most bitter Godzilla fan ever.
Hey man, I don't blame him. Okay, after the stuff that I've seen in recent years, but
I know
hey,
Patrick's a really cool guy. I got nothing
yeah,
against him, but he is.
he's honestly, without a doubt, a genuinely great individual, really talented dude. Please, if you can, if you are interested in Chinese cinema, he did pretty much wrote the definitive book on Ruan Lingyu, her life and career. It's the name of his book that he has out on Amazon right now. He pretty much wrote the entire life story of this famous actress from China, the silent era of Chinese films. She was considered like one of the first big actors in early Chinese cinema before she tragically took her own life at a very young age. So Patrick went out of his way to research everything about this woman and pretty much wrote the definitive book about her. Definitely give it a shot if you are interested. Like I said, in the history of not just Chinese cinema but Asian cinema as a whole.
Yeah. Um. Uh. Yeah, but bottom line, like Patrick's a really cool guy. Just very bitter as a Godzilla. He's the most jaded Godzilla fan I have ever met in my life, and I'm like, do you even like doing this anymore? And
I mean, honestly, I don't, like I said, I don't blame him. A lot of our friends, I know a lot of our friends, a lot of, at least like within Patrick and I's circle and yours and I's circle, who feel kind of like the same way, where a lot of us feel very burnt out on Godzilla in a way. That used to be like our bread and butter in the early 2000, in the early 2010s. A lot of our content revolved around that. And then just as the years gone on, as Godzilla became more popular and Godzilla went from being this niche thing to something that's everywhere, you got the comics, you've got the hot sauce, you've got the monsterverse, you've got whatever Toho is cooking up, you've got the animes,
you've
you've
got
got
the
the
Godzilla. You've
flamethrower.
got the Godzilla pocket pussy.
Now that's an even more obscure reference that's probably should have stayed in the past.
Oh no, I
um
was gonna bring. But honestly, I think that's where I will say I think you're wrong, Andres. Is that I personally love this era of Godzilla where it's being
and
more
that's
accessible.
great.
I
Yeah, that's totally fine. It's great that I'm glad that there's so much Godzilla out there to where there's a little something for everyone. You don't have to like everything, because like so let's say for Patrick and I, we love Godzilla Singular Point. We did a whole review over on Inshoma's channel, which you can watch right now. That was honestly that has still like that and Shin Godzilla are easily my favorite Godzilla things to come out of the last 10 years. Uh
not -1.
no, honestly, I like -1, but the more I look back on it, the more it just feels very derivative of better, more original movies out there.
Well,
And the one thing that makes it original, which is its time period, I feel like it doesn't take enough full advantage of that time period. Like, this is supposed to be set during the American occupation of Japan, except there is zero presence of the American occupation. And even from what I could tell, even like the Japanese side of things, they were not really big on -1. It was definitely a movie that struck a chord with international audiences way significantly more than with Japanese audiences. There was pretty much like zero buzz about this movie in Japan outside of like the first weekend. And I remember looking back on its box office records through Box Office Mojo, and the movie fell off rather quickly. I remember even my friend Norman England, who lives in Japan, mentioned how a month, like several, like what was it, 3 or 4 weeks in, it was already getting pulled from theaters. Um, where it yeah, again, strong debut, and then just kind of peered out relatively quickly, and then everyone just kind of moved on from there. And I could tell that like either again people did not know, but this could be like a variety of various things. We can get into it or not. But going back to what my personal feelings of Godzilla -1, it's a great movie, but it doesn't stick with me the same way that like Shin Godzilla stuck with me. You could also make the argument that Shin Godzilla is a derivative movie. It's basically a modern remake of 54, but there's something about Shin Godzilla where its style, its tone, its cinematography, its music, a lot of it just feels very unique and weird and different and fascinating. On top of that, there's is the personal side of things. That was the year that my I lived in Japan. For those who don't know, I was an English teacher who lived in Japan from 2016 to 2022. I was there to sort of see that sort of like hype build up in person. So there's definitely a huge personal connection, a lot of sentimentality when it comes to my feelings on uh, Shin Godzilla.
yeah.
But aside from that, when it comes to -1, again, I like it. A lot of the performances are great, the music is great, the effects are spectacular, but it just doesn't stick with me only because whenever I see the movie, I'm like, that's taken from 54, that's taken from Shin Godzilla, that's taken from GMK. It almost feels like a best of Godzilla compilation set to an interesting period piece. But then if you know anything about Japanese history, then it's like there's something that's not quite right here. Um, but yeah, I don't love it. I really like it. I think it's a great movie. I highly enjoy it. It's definitely the Godzilla movie that I feel like non-Godzilla fans. It's a perfect movie for non-Godzilla fans who want to get into Godzilla. But it's just the thing. I don't know. There's something about it that doesn't make me love it the same way it has for a lot of people. But like
Okay.
I said before, um, there's so much Godzilla out there, and to the point where like yes there is something for everybody, and for some Godzilla fans they like everything, and that's wonderful. For me, however, I've been involved in Godzilla for so long that I just kind of feel burnt out by it, and maybe that could have potentially have played a part into why I don't love -1, because by then I there's just been a Godzilla movie every other year at
Well,
that point.
well, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that. I
Hmm.
personally am on the other end of that
Sure.
aisle because, like, Matt and I have talked about this. Our mutual friend Matt Denian
Yeah,
have talked about this. Is like there was a
another wonderful person, amazing friend.
but Matt and I have said this multiple times where we lived through the 10-year gap where
Hmm.
there was no Godzilla, there was no movies, no nothing, and even when the comics did start to come out around that
Hmm.
time, there was no
Yeah.
like major crossovers, or like the comics were not that big, and now
Hmm.
we're kind of living in an era where we can see new Godzilla fans come in, and I understand that like people could say like, oh, people are going to start gatekeeping, and I'm like, I hate that word, I really do. um, I personally am like, if we want this fandom to continue, we got to let more people in. Like when the Playmates toys were starting to come out, perfect
Hmm.
example. When the Playmates toys were starting to come out, people were like, "Oh, these toys aren't as don't have the same level of quality as the Bandai toys." And I went, first off, ha, you don't know, you don't know Jack. Um, Secondly, the whole point
Hmm.
of the Playmates toys is to, I don't know, play with, and you introduce that to like a kid. The kid's
Hmm.
gonna There's a chance the kid may want to watch the movies or associate the monsters with that. And
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's like a lot like Transformers. You have the more high-end collectible stuff like Transformers Masterpiece, or even something that's more like mid-budget, like Transformers Generations. And then you have the stuff like Cyberverse or Cyberworld or Earthspark. These are toys that are made much cheaper, but they're also made for a younger audience in the hopes of getting them into the Transformers brand. You know, SH Monster Arts, NECA, Haya, these are definitely more collector grade figures, whereas Playmates is meant to be the more lower budget, widespread retail release, mainstream audience type of things that are, like you said, aimed towards kids first and foremost.
yeah, so
Um,
yeah,
but
I am personally
mhm,
of this mindset of, you know, I I think it is vital to have
mhm,
this fandom to survive. We got to let more
mhm.
people in.
Oh no, no, yeah, I'm not
No,
arguing against that, and I'm not saying that the fact that there's so much Godzilla is a bad thing. I just think that, like, earlier you mentioned how living during the dark era of God, where there was just hardly any Godzilla material between 2004 and 2014. To me, that just made whatever little Godzilla was out there feel all the more special. We could cherish it more. The new IDW comics, sure, they were very rocky at the start, but once they found their footing, they told some really interesting stories that us Godzilla fans were really starving for in the lead up to 2014.
yeah,
Japan came out with their first Godzilla movie over 10 years with Shin Godzilla. That itself felt really special. Um, every single, like, before every little thing that came out, it felt like a big monumental occasion. Whereas because a new crossover, a new toy line, a new movie is announced left and right, for me personally, it just makes each one feel less special as a result. Where it's like quantity over quality. And again, that's just me. Of course, it's very subjective as to whether or not each and every single piece of the Godzilla franchise is worthwhile to you. And like I said, there's always going to be something for everyone. And to quote my friend Matt Burkett, just let people enjoy what they want to enjoy.
yeah,
And that, for me, that's why in recent years, I've taken a step back from Godzilla, because at that point, like I said, I felt very burnt out on the franchise. I still love it. I'm still keeping up with it. I still want to know what goes on with my favorite franchise. But
yeah.
after consuming, so I have a personal limit on that. It's like I doubt someone who is into Dragon Ball consumes nothing but Dragon Ball and only Dragon Ball, or someone who is into Doctor Who watches nothing but Doctor Who and only Doctor Who.
You
So,
you have clearly never seen a guy hyperfixate before.
well, here's the thing. I don't want to be that guy. So
Oh,
I
you.
decided to eventually, stretch my wings and, try to explore more aspects of
Yeah,
tokusatsu,
yeah,
which led me down various interesting paths. I was into Ultraman for a good while. Um, I've been a Gundam fan for most of my life. Around the mid 2000s, I got into Super Robot, old school 70s Super Robot manga, which led to me creating Draco, my comic book series Draco Azul. In recent years, I gotten into Kamen Rider a lot, and I've been absolutely loving it. I started out in the 80s with Kamen Rider Black, worked my way up through the 2000s, the 90s movies, the 2000 series. Recently, I finished Kamen Rider Blade. That was incredible. Um, I even helped out. Like what really set me on the path of Kamen Rider was working with Matt Burkett on his documentary Kamen Rider Gaia, which was essentially this project that famous manga artist and writer Shotaro Ishinomori. He was the creator of Super Sentai and Kamen Rider,
Oh, that's awesome.
and this was Kamen Rider Gaia was essentially sort of like the definitive version of Kamen Rider that he wanted to tell for roughly the last 10 or 15 years of his life before his tragic passing in 1998.
Yeah.
I believe due to lung cancer.
Yeah.
And so Kamen Rider Gaia was sort of like the culmination of all these ideas he had been toying with throughout the various iterations of Kamen Rider up to that point. And then having understood what Gaia was supposed to be, you can easily see the DNA of Kamen Rider Gaia spread throughout all these future iterations of Kamen Rider. So in a way, Kamen Rider Gaia is sort of like the embodiment of Kamen Rider's past, present, and future. Really fascinating stuff. I got into Super Sentai more recently. I'm currently working my way through O Ranger, which was the series that was adapted into Power Rangers Zeo, which is very interesting. I've started out with Jew Ranger, so working my way Jew Ranger, Die Ranger, Kaku Ranger, all the stuff, the Mighty Morphin era stuff. And especially really got into this director named Keita Amamiya, by far one of the greatest tokusatsu directors out there. He started off as a creature designer for Super Sentai and Kamen Rider.
Is
He
he the one?
directed.
Is he the one who did Howl Beyond the Fog?
Oh no, that is another individual. I believe you're thinking about Keizo Murase.
Oh
Keizo
yeah, you're
Murase.
right. It's Marase I'm thinking of. I'm sorry.
Marase, yeah. Amamiya, he's a much younger guy. He pretty much was like of the 80s, 90s generation of tokusatsu. He, like I said, he worked on a lot of the 80s, 90s. He designed a lot of the monsters for Jew Ranger, actually.
Oh.
And he designed the costumes for the main characters of Jew Ranger.
Yeah.
He
Hey,
also
by the
directed.
way, Andres,
Yeah.
you don't have to take this like an interview. We're not doing. You're kind of like how you talk. How you've been talking. It's like
No. This is just the thing, you know. Whenever I talk about tokusatsu, there's so much. That's what I mean. There's so much knowledge out there beyond just Godzilla that I really want to convey to audiences. That there is so much cool shit out there that is, you know, that I'm sure more people would love, but there's just, you know, not enough attention on it. So I'm just like, hey guys, if you're looking for more stuff outside of Godzilla, there is a world of stuff out there. And that's why for me, I don't prioritize Godzilla as much, just because I keep finding all this new stuff around. Keita Mamiya, after doing a whole bunch of projects, ended up creating his own tokusatsu franchise with Garo. It's currently celebrating its 20th anniversary right now.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
what was it? It's basically Power Rangers, but for an adult audience. It came out around midnight, weekly back in 2005. You know, it's pretty much got a lot of like adult themes, a lot of like moral ambiguity. There are heroes and villains, but you know, there's definitely a lot of very interesting character dynamics. There are times that really like feel like gut punches to you. The action is spectacular. The use of CGI mixed with the tokusatsu elements is incredibly ambitious and impressive for a TV scale that blows anything out the water that Toei does. But yeah, Garo is another thing that I have really gotten into alongside the likes of Super Sentai and Kamen Rider. And definitely, you know, I have not touched Metal Heroes yet, but it's something I really, really want to get into from what I've seen. especially given that some of these Metal Hero shows have had very big cult followings in Latin America. Like Just Beyond was super big in Brazil. Giban was very big in Ecuador. Um, it's very interesting. The more you discover, the more it's like kind of like a sponge. I'm like learning about so much information out there that I want to be able to absorb it all and being able to um get and trying to like no just learn like how these things were made, the people who made them, the how the sausage is made, that sort of thing. It's not enough for me personally to just know, oh, to just enjoy the thing. I want to know what are the stories behind the people who made the thing. And that's ultimately kind of what led me to now currently there is I recently had the opportunity to work on an official Kamen Rider Blu-ray. Media Blasters is putting out a duology called Kamen Rider Dyad, which is a collection of two movies, Kamen Rider the First and Kamen Rider the Next. These are remakes of the original Kamen Rider series from the 70s, and I got to partake in doing commentaries for
Oh
these
shit! I didn't know
Blu-rays.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I got to work alongside Josh Saucido, who works on Anime News Network, as well as my friend that I've mentioned, Matt Burkett. Together, we put together these commentaries after doing a lot of thorough research on these films. They really represent a very fascinating time in Kamen Rider's history, where it had a big revival in the early 2000s, but there was still a lot of a growing demand for the classic characters to return in some way, shape, or form. At the same time, they were also trying to experiment with the formula a bit. Um, all of that and so much more we were able to do, as well as conduct interviews with both the writer of these movies. Um, what was it? I feel so bad now that I'm blanking on the spot. But Toshiki Inoue, he worked on a ton of anime and tokusatsu, all going all the way back to the 80s. He was the writer of these two movies. We also interviewed the action director Makoto Yokoyama, who I was a producer on the making on the specifically the translation of the interview. He's been a guy who worked in Japan on Keita Mamiya's stuff before moving to Los Angeles to work on as a stunt actor and then later a stunt coordinator for Power Rangers. And then once Power Rangers moved from Los Angeles to um, New Zealand, he eventually moved back to Japan, worked on these Kamen Rider movies, and then worked on Garo. So you can sort of see how all these things are all sort of interconnected with each other the more you dig deep enough into it. And so that really has taken up all of my attention these days over Godzilla. Again, I don't want to come off like I'm shitting on Godzilla. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. It's just that um, life has kind of taken me in these other directions where it's like I'm willing to let go of Godzilla for the time being. Let the new, like you said, let the new generation enjoy Godzilla and get into it and love it the same way I did before. And it's like, you guys have your fun. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to quote Spider-Verse, I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah. Well, now I feel after getting all that news because I didn't know that I was like, well, shit. Now I feel kind of like I'm just a guy on YouTube. Andres is over here doing commentary for yeah.
Hey man, it's all how would I say? There's nothing wrong with doing YouTube as long as you do what you love, do what you enjoy, keep doing the things that you are most passionate about, whether it's making YouTube, doing YouTube, whether it's writing books or making comics or working on DVDs or whatever. Just keep doing. Let your passion guide you towards what it is that you want to do most in life.
Yeah. Um yeah. It's funny like we were talking about like letting new people in.
Yeah,
One of those is my girl. My girlfriend. She actually like I when we started we started getting together, I would show her like some of the Godzilla films, like the essential ones, like each one from different era. Like
interesting.
I would show her first Gojira, then I showed her Godzilla 1984, then 2000, and then Shin. What? Yeah, then Shin,
Hmm.
and we saw -1 in theaters, and then she would go off and find movies on her own. Do you know? You want to know
Cool.
her favorite monsters?
Let's hear them.
Well, okay, guess one.
Okay. Very stereotypical of me, but I'm gonna say Mothra.
Yeah, it is Mothra. Like,
Okay.
yeah, Mothra.
Whew.
Mothra is like every, and I'm not trying to be sound sexist or anything, but Mothra is. I've seen every female Godzilla fan goes it loves
Yeah.
Mothra, but she has
Hmm.
three others that you would never guess.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to say Minya.
No,
Okay. King Ghidorah.
no, that's mine though. Um,
Okay.
um,
Nice choice.
her other three favorites are Biolante,
Cool. Good. I like that choice. Good. Strong choice.
Hedorah,
Not the first time I've heard a woman who said hetero was one of their favorites.
and Ebra.
That is interesting. I like that. I feel like I'm one of the only Ebra stands in the world, but I'm very glad to hear that she's a fan of our lobster boy here.
She okay, so she watched the movie by herself and she's talking to me and she is
Yeah,
um she's under the influence, so to speak.
yeah.
And she literally was like, I wanted to watch Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, and
Uh-huh.
she was crying over Ebra of how she was being treated throughout the movie.
Of how Ebra was treated.
How being Ebra was being treated, yeah. Uh,
Okay. So she
it,
sympathized with the creature.
she was like, just leave him alone. He just wanted
He
to.
didn't do anything. He just wanted to play some volleyball.
He was. Why is it? Godzilla just rips his arm off for no reason. And it's like, for Biolante, she thinks she's a bad bitch. Um,
mm.
and Hedera, she's just like, he's so goopy and disgusting. I love him.
That is great, man. I'm really glad that you were able to introduce her to this stuff to where she's now interested in watching this in her own free time. That's really how you know that you've really drawn someone into
Yeah.
this world.
She also, when we watched Shin Godzilla, she like could not look at Kamata-kun, like. But it's funny
Yeah,
because she has like a love hate thing where it's like it's so disgusting. But she has like 5 figures now. She's yeah we've been
yeah.
collecting.
So it's like an ironic love.
Yeah, she's like looks at it, she gags whenever, like
Yeah,
especially the scene where like Kamata-kun is like dragging himself across the road.
yeah.
Just
You know what you should get? I want to say there was like a I don't know if this was real or not. I want to say there was like a ketchup bottle sprayer of Kamata-kun through
oh
the
no,
gills, like in the
she
movie.
she got like a little like Kamata-kun like I don't know what it was, but she went to Japan and got
Yeah,
something like a Kamata-kun kitchen appliance.
nice, nice. So then it does exist. Okay, because I could have sworn I read somewhere like at the recent San Diego Comic Con, they interviewed Shinji Higuchi and they talked about like what sort of merchandise they could make, and he's like, "Well, we did try this one ketchup bottle with Kamata-kun. That didn't really sell very well, so we moved on from there."
Yeah, but yeah, yeah, that was kind of the thing. Like, I know your favorite monster is from the Godzilla universe is Titanosaurus,
Hell yeah.
which I've always like. I like Titanosaurus too, but like,
Hmm.
what drew
But
what drew you to him?
for me, what really drew me to him, like I first off, I'm a sucker for aquatic creatures. Me being a swimmer in the past, I was a lifeguard for 3 years. Um, I've always been drawn to aquatic creatures, and it just so happens by sheer coincidence, by sheer cosmic coincidence, that my first Godzilla movie ever was Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. So water is definitely a big theme I'm just really drawn to naturally.
Okay,
And Titanosaurus is naturally a very aquatic based dinosaur. He's got the fins. He's got very slick skin, very vibrant colors. The design itself just feels like a very sleeker, shinier, more vibrant version of Godzilla. And I also, as I grew older, loved the sort of parallels between Godzilla and Titanosaurus, both being these sort of like surviving relics of a bygone era. One who is both affected by humanity in very negative ways. Whereas one creature is completely subservient to the will of other forces, external forces. Godzilla himself uh, fights to preserve his freedom and his need to keep the peace within his own territory. Whatever Godzilla does is of his own volition, whereas Titanosaurus is, tragically uh, uh, kept under the thumb of whether it was the mad scientist or the alien, these evil aliens.
Yeah.
And on top of it all, he's got a really wicked laugh that I mentioned before in my old video of my top 15 favorite kaijus, where where Titanosaurus's evil laugh just sounds like the cackle of an 80s cartoon villain like Skeletor.
That is true. That I do like that. I mean, do you still have that list, that video up?
Oh
Um,
yeah, it's still up.
oh,
It's easily one of my most proudest videos I've ever made. The one video that's not up though is my History of Gundam video that I put out in like 2016 or 2017, I believe. That one went through the ringer thanks to Bandai. First, it was pretty much available everywhere except Japan, and then it was just like blocked worldwide. And then it's like, at that point, the video is outdated. It's been almost 10 years. There's been new Gundam stuff out there, but I'm still really proud of that video, earning, I think, almost 500,000 views, which is the way more than any other video I've ever had. My videos, at least at the height of my channel, was like in the like thousands, if not tens of thousands, potentially. But then this thing was in the hundreds of thousands. I'm like, whoa, this thing fucking exploded. And now it's gone thanks to Bandai and YouTube. But no, that's the one that's gone. My top 15 giant robots and top 15 giant monsters are still on the platform today.
okay. Hey, speaking, just to switch gears,
Yeah.
since I got you for a second, I told you that a friend of mine had sent me some Ultraman collections,
Yeah, sure.
and I told you he sent me Ultraman Decker, to get your,
Yes.
but he also sent me Ultraman Z. Um, can you tell me
Ah,
if that?
Zeth. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have not watched Ultraman Deckard, but I did hear that it was a big improvement over the prior year's Ultraman. So for all intents and purposes, Ultraman Trigger and Deckard are each a remake of a 90s Ultraman show, those being Tiga and Dinah. I
Okay.
love Ultraman Tiga. Tiga was sort of like the big 90s revival of Ultraman after being off the air for over 10 years and kind of like experimenting a bit with like animated Ultraman, Australian Ultraman, American Ultraman, Gridman. And so here was Tiga, the big comeback for a new generation, and Dinah was its immediate sequel. So 25 years later, you get Trigger, which is supposed to be a spiritual successor slash remake of Tiga, but it doesn't have any of what made Tiga special. It just feels like yet another Ultraman show, but aimed at a very young, much younger demographic. And so, yeah, fans were not interested, and apparently it just didn't hit well with Japanese audiences. So then comes Deckard, which apparently learned from the mistakes of Trigger by trying to be more like the show that it claims to be inspired by. That's about as far as I know about Ultraman Deckard. Again, I hear it's good, but I can't say for myself, unfortunately. Now, Zet, Ultraman Zet is a lot of fun. It's hard to believe that the show is. I want to say it's no, it's not 10 years old. I think it's 5 years old. Let me check. Ultraman Z. It is 2020. So yeah, it's half a decade old now, which is wild. Because I remember when this show was coming out, I had seen the first 3 episodes initially, and then about 2 years ago, I decided to just binge through the whole series, and I really fell in love with it. It's basically a show about mankind and technology, and their insistence on using technology to gain more control of the world, but at a very, very dangerous cost. And so Ultraman plays a little role into that. Zet himself is the student of Ultraman Zero, who first appeared 15 years ago in Ultra Galaxy, the movie. Uh, he's out of all the new Ultramen, Zero is easily like the coolest one. He's the most popular one. He's the one that never had his own TV show, but he just keeps coming back again and again in various specials, movies, and crossover episodes. So Zet was his protege, and Zet himself is a very charming character. He talks, unlike most Ultramen, he's one of those who talks a lot to his human host, trying to learn a lot more about the human race. He speaks in very formal Japanese, which weirds out his host. He's like, "Why are you talking like that?" Just because he doesn't have a grasp of the human language. Um, he's a very fun, quirky Ultraman, I would say. He's got more personality than most of the Ultramen, who tend to be more on the silent, stoic type. And of course, me being a mecha fan, I love the fact that there's various mechas in this show.
Is Zet the one with Gargorgon?
No, that is X.
Okay.
Yeah, which is also another amazing, incredible series.
Yeah.
And I want to say both X and Z were directed by Kiyotaka Taguchi. He took over as the main special effects director for the last 10 years worth of Ultraman material after he worked as, I believe, an assistant special effects guy on the Millennium Godzilla series, specifically Megaguirus, I believe. He did his a couple of student films. I believe they were Gehara, the dark and long-haired monster, and Daikaiju Ega G. So this guy's been working since in special effects for roughly 20 years now. And so when I first heard, because his student films were literally the very first movies, some of the very first among the first movies I ever covered on my channel, because nobody was talking about movies like Gahara, Daikaiju Ega G, Reigo, Raiga, Monster X Strikes Back, the Attack the G8 Summit. So when I saw that the director the director behind these movies, some of that are intrinsically tied to my YouTube channel, I couldn't help but feel proud of the guy. It's like, yes, you made it. You're involved in Ultraman now. You're the modern Eiji Tsuburaya for the Ultraman franchise now. You go, man. um, so yeah, I would say Zet is a stellar series, and among the two of them, I would definitely say do check out Zet
Yeah.
when you can.
Well, like I said, well, Ultraman Z is the one he sent me, so I have Decker and Z. The other ones,
Yeah, Z. You call it Z. I just call it Zet only because that's what they call it in the English dub as well. In the
Okay.
Japanese, the funny thing about Japanese is that sometimes they take pronunciations based on the American way of saying it. Other times they take it based on the British way of saying it. It all depends on which one they were exposed to first. So when it comes to the final letter of the alphabet of the English alphabet, they pronounce it as Zet or Zetto, which is based on the British way of saying Zed. So in the dub, the English dub, I mean, they all have American accents. I believe it's all American actors. I want to say Sean Schimmel, the voice of Goku, he does the dubbed voice of Ultraman Zero, his master. And so throughout this dub, they refer to him as Zet. So that's the pronunciation I've personally gone with.
Okay. Yeah, the other ones I have are just Q, Ultraman, Ultra 7, and Return of Ultraman. Um,
So Ultraman, Ultra Seven. Oh, Ultra. You mean Ultra Q?
yeah, Ultra Q. Ultra Q,
Ultra Q, Ultraman,
Ultra 7.
Ultra 7, and Return of Ultraman.
Yeah. Plus with
Okay, so
yeah,
plus what?
with Z and Decker, and also the American animated Ultraman.
Uh, American anime. Oh, Ultraman Rising.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I did not know that got a physical release.
Yeah, Mill Creek just is. I guess Mill Creek is the only one who gives a shit.
Yeah, or I want to say they probably jumped in. I want to say they most likely jumped in while they had the chance, because Ultraman's history, distribution history, is a fascinating mess prior to, I want to say, prior to 2015. I want to say it was been a crazy mess because there was this Thai company called Chayo that claimed ownership of the foreign distribution rights to Ultraman. At least,
Like some Pote Sands thing.
yes, he's the guy in charge of Chayo. He created
That's right.
Chayo.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, this sounds familiar. Does this have to deal with some Pote Sands? At the moment, I was like, yep, there's some Pote
Yeah.
Sands.
um, and
Eh,
Mill Creek, they Chayo technically worked through another like third party, fourth party thingamabob. They worked with Mill Creek to produce the original DVD releases of Ultra Q, Ultraman, and Ultra Seven. But I suppose because Mill Creek already had a already a familiarity. Now, again, I don't know. I don't have any insider knowledge. This is just me making broad how do you say, this is just pure fanboy speculation on my part, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was due to Mill Creek already having familiarity with the Ultraman brand that Tsuburaya decided, you know what, let's work with them officially now, since they got the hang of this thing. And since then, Mill Creek has pretty much been in charge of all the Ultraman releases and other Tsuburaya related releases like Gridman the Hyper Agent.
yeah. I of all the like it's kind of hard to like follow with
Hmm.
the especially modern Ultraman shows. It's mostly
Hmm.
because like there's been so many and there's so much continuity heavy. But I would like
Not
the
really.
one
It's all.
I oh I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The one I really want to watch though, and
Hmm.
get the Blu-ray collection of is Geed.
Oh, Jeed. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's Geed. I thought it was Geed.
Oh no, they referred, at least I haven't listened to the dub. I don't know if there is a dub, but in Japanese it's a Jeed.
Okay.
Um, with that, I only saw the first couple episodes of that one. I never got around to finishing it, but I definitely like its premise because the main hero is the son of an evil Ultraman.
Yeah, Belial, right?
Yep, Belial. Um, or as they pronounce it, I'm not sure if the English dub also does the same thing, but the Japanese pronounce it Belial. Again, because Japanese tend to. Another thing about the Japanese language, when it comes to foreign words, they try to pronounce it based on how it's spelled, not how it's pronounced. Except other times it's based on foreign pronunciations. It's very inconsistent when it comes to their approach to foreign words. But then again, you can make the argument that we do the same thing as well in English.
Yeah.
But anyways, um, in terms of continuity heavy, so it's very interesting because for a while in the late 90s to or from the mid 90s to the mid 2000s, each Ultraman show felt very self-contained. Even though Dyna was a sequel to Tiga, you didn't need to watch Tiga to understand Dyna. It's not like Power Rangers, it's not like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to Power Rangers Zeo. You got a whole new cast and everything. Um, Ultraman Mebius was like the return to the Showa era continuity. And so, but it knew that this was like young kids' first introduction to the Showa Ultramen. So it spent a lot of time just slowly introducing you to old, the old guard, as you have this new rookie Ultraman who aspires to be like them. Then come what Tsuburaya officially refers to as the new generation Ultramen, which are the Ultramen from the last like 10 or 15 years. These are all Ultramen where they technically take place in different universes, but they've established that the multiverse is a thing, and so these Ultraman are just constantly like visiting each other in crossover episodes, with like to the point where it's like almost expected at this point. It's like, okay, who's going to show up for Ultraman Arc's crossover episode? Okay, who's going to show up for Ultraman Omega's eventual crossover episode? So, but again, they do realize that every Ultraman show is going to be some child's first Ultraman. And make no mistake, these are shows made for kids. Same goes with Kamen Rider for Kamen Rider, Super Sentai. When it comes to like the main stuff that gets shown on TV, these are all for kids. And every Kamen Rider, every Ultraman, every Super Sentai team is going to be someone's first. So you don't need to worry about continuity, in my opinion, because whatever new element that shows up from a prior Ultraman piece of media, they will make sure to explain who that is, where they came from, and why you should care.
Yeah, I do have like don't get me wrong. I want to like watch more Ultraman beyond the Showa era, and I don't even have the full collection of the Showa either.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Jeed, Mebius. I would love to do. I would love Tiga.
Mm-hmm. Oh, if you love Lovecraft, Tiga is basically what if Lovecraft was in the Tiga unit, was in an Ultraman show.
All right, you got me. Yeah, I personally would like. I just want to expand more of Ultraman, and I want to start watching more Kamen Rider. After watching Shin Kamen Rider,
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like, why have I never watched any Kamen Rider?
Well, man, I got lots of recommendations for you,
Well,
and luckily, a lot of it is free on YouTube.
yeah,
Uh,
I think the original show, like Kamen Rider One, is
yes,
that's free, right?
it's it's free on Tubi. Yes, a lot of the Shout Factory stuff is free on Tubi. Tsuburaya, what was it? Toei. Toei has a Tokusatsu channel where they put up the first 2 or 3 episodes of every single series for free on YouTube. The newest old Kamen Rider show, Zets, is now streaming for free on YouTube officially worldwide, and that's something they have never done before. Tsuburaya has been doing this for at least since Ultraman Z. No, X. No, Ultraman X was on Crunchyroll. Zet was the first time they were streaming for free on YouTube on the official Tsuburaya YouTube channel. So since 2020, Ultraman has been every single new Ultraman show has streamed for free, officially subbed for American audiences. And finally, Toei said, "Hey, Tsuburaya looks like they're growing their audience pretty well. Let's do that." So now we have Kamen Rider Zets, which is a spy dream-based Kamen Rider. He's kind of like Freddy Krueger. He's like Freddy Krueger, where he jumps into people's dreams to fight evil monstrous nightmares that are attempting to control people's minds.
That sounds more
Um,
like if Sandman was Tokusatsu.
yeah, basically that. If Sandman henshined with a belt and then was, kicking Nightmare's asses on a regular basis. Except the main character, he's a huge spy fan. He's a big fan of this fictional in-universe movie series that's essentially James Bond mixed with a little bit of Man from Uncle. And so everything is kind of like spy themed in terms of like the gadgets that he uses, his catchphrases, his missions. And it's very much so. It was revealed recently at LA Comic Con that Kamen Rider Zets was made specifically with an international audience in mind, which is great because a lot of the more recent Kamen Riders, their themes and gimmicks have been fucking stupid as hell. Last year's Kamen Rider was literally like the whole gimmick was snacks. So it's like his belt is like a second mouth that he would insert little like collectible toy. This has been a thing for like the last 10 years of Kamen Rider. The little collectible tchotchkes that you shove into the belt that unlocks a new power up. You may have noticed something akin to that with Modern Ultraman or even Power Rangers slash Super Sentai, but it's really bad with Kamen Rider. It's not enough that you got the belt and then make the belt do have a flip or a switch or whatever. No, you got to get the collectible thing, shove it into the belt. It'll make an obnoxious announcer voice that makes a big loud catchphrase and a jingle and a sound effect that goes on for like 2 whole minutes. Nah, fuck that shit. Uh, so yeah, so he like the last year's Kamen Rider, he's like, this is my form based on chocolate. Here's a form based on peppermint candy. Here's a form based on potato chips. Here's a form based on marshmallows. Here's a form based off of gummies. So to have a more practical back to basics Kamen Rider that's like spy themed, traveling into people's dreams, and has a design that's very reminiscent of the original Kamen Rider. All of that, I'm like, yes, I love this direction of Kamen Rider. And 4 episodes into the new series, again, all free on YouTube, which you can watch right now. A lot of it just feels like, yes, this is what this franchise needs to get more and more people interested.
Okay.
But oh yeah, earlier when I mentioned like how to get into that kind of stuff, one that the big Kamen Rider thing that I always recommend to everybody, and I can prove this. I've shown this to various people, and they've gotten into Kamen Rider thanks to it, and that is the 50-minute standalone movie Kamen Rider ZO, or ZO, as some people like to pronounce it as. Kamen Rider Zeto was a 50-minute standalone movie. It introduces a main character who does his thing, and it's not a setup to a series. It's not you don't need to. It's not a connected to any other prior series. The character himself has appeared in a few crossovers here and there, but other than that, it's its own standalone movie. It's amazing. It's sweet. It's short, sweet, to the point, and it's directed by Keita Amamiya, who I've been gushing about throughout this recording. It's free on YouTube, officially on Toei's YouTube channel, and it is available as part of the 90s Kamen Rider movie trilogy. It's called a trilogy only because it's 3 standalone Kamen Rider movies that happen to have come out one after another after another. It's available on Blu-ray from Media Blasters. Highly recommended. My friend Matt Burkett did the commentary for that for 2 of those 3 movies. A lot of hard work and effort went into that release. Highly recommended if you're interested. But like I said, it's free on YouTube. Definitely check it out. Another show I would highly recommend is Kuga. Kamen Rider Kuga was the big grand return of Kamen Rider to televisions. It was the first Kamen Rider TV series since the 80s. It came out in the year 2000. Some of the CGI definitely feels very dated, but it more than makes up for that with its amazing story, great characters, wonderful pacing, brilliant action choreography, and really just hits the nail on the head as to what Kamen Rider is for the new millennium. And it's is available on Blu-ray from Shout Factory, but if you go on to Tubi, you'll be able to watch all of Kuga and the original Kamen Rider for free on Tubi, which is a free streaming site. In fact, all of Mill Creek's Ultraman stuff is also free on Tubi, as well as Shout Factory's Super Sentai releases are all free on Tubi. Tubi, for whatever reason, is a gold bastion for these franchises. So definitely highly recommend checking these shows out on Tubi. It's how I've been watching Super Sentai. It's how I got started watching the 2000s Kamen Rider shows. It's it's how I revisited Ultraman Tiga, which is still to this day my favorite Ultraman show ever. So yeah, there is plenty of options. Like I said, this is why I implore people to watch more stuff outside of Godzilla. Not because I hate Godzilla, not because I think Godzilla is inferior, but because there's just so much more cool shit out there that people need to check out, and it's free. It couldn't be This ain't like the Dark Ages of Godzilla. This where you would have to pay $300 for an out of print DVD of Kamen Rider V3 from Hawaii. This like Kamen Rider could not be made, or Tokusatsu in general could not be made more available if you tried, honestly.
This podcast was brought to you by Tubi.
Like Tubi.
Yeah, I really do like that site. I really do like that streaming service. Free,
Mhm.
first off. There's a gold mine of not just tokusatsu stuff, but also like anime and
Mhm.
movies.
A
Like
lot of classic movies on there.
it is. I think people sleep on that site because it's free. But if you, there is some gold if you dig hard enough. There is some legit gold in there,
Mhm.
and I also sometimes like I forget how good that site is when it comes to like it's not just anime but also like it has Street Sharks and fucking Extreme Dinosaurs on there.
Hell yeah.
Um, and speaking as someone who like loves to collect physical media because
Mhm.
streaming services are become a expensive and b your favorite thing could get taken off before you get to watch it.
Very true.
So I have always been a proponent of having physical media, and it's kind of funny how that's now back in vogue because of just how bad streaming services have gotten expense wise.
Oh yeah, and they're very unreliable in terms of how long they'll even have your favorite stuff, or if they'll even make changes to your favorite stuff, or maybe they'll have these like quality of life features that are suddenly no longer there. You
Exactly.
know.
You know, I have like because it's funny because it's gonna be a weird example, but like
Hmm.
back when a few months ago, Cartoon Network, a lot of Cartoon Network shows were taken off HBO Max, and the one that
Right.
everyone was really mad about was Courage the Cowardly Dog going off. And
Mm.
I was just kind of sitting there, and I look over to my Courage the Cowardly Dog DVD collection,
Hmm.
and I'm like, well, can't compare.
Oh, for sure. Not as drastic of an example, but I just remember when it came to Netflix, they got the rights to Evangelion, the original series from the
Yeah,
90s,
I remember that.
and they did a whole new translation and a whole new dub for it. And a
Yeah, the
lot of
whole thing with Fly Me to the Moon, I remember that.
yeah, Fly Me to the Moon, that was removed. People did not like the fact that the outro song was taken out. They did not like the new performances. They did not like the new translation, which they said was way too literal and makes everything very stilted and awkward and not feel natural at all. So for anyone who has those old DVDs of the original dub or the original subtitles, you know, they still have a in their eyes a superior localization of Evangelion. Or if you happen to have if spend like money on the super special extra special edition of the Blu-ray, it comes with the original dub, ADV dub. So it's like, even if you were to have your favorite stuff on streaming, it might not be the version that you are hoping to see.
Yeah.
And that is definitely a very unfortunate reality of things, because it's like with physical media, once you own it, it's yours. They cannot take it away from you. Only only the sands of time could get in the way of you enjoying your physical media, as it will naturally deteriorate through age and time. But that's going to take a while for that to happen.
Yeah, and you
Um,
could definitely keep discs living past past their prime in the right conditions.
Oh yeah, and if you know your way around a disk, you can easily transfer all the files into a PC, into your hard drive, and eventually print out a new disk, or just keep the files safe somewhere somehow, for the sake of archiving this information.
Yeah, I think a lot about like when Funimation just annihilated their uh, users like anime libraries that they had built.
Right, because that's when they were bought out by Crunchyroll, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so then like anyone who was like streaming, who was paying for their streaming services or paid for digital versions of their library, It's all gone now, right?
Yeah, it was immediately wiped out, and there was no refunds.
Right, right. Yeah. That is very, very unfortunate. And the thing is, that's always going to be a potential reality to whatever um, service we are subscribing to. Whether you're subscribing to Disney Plus or HBO Max or Netflix, anything could change at any time,
Yeah,
and that's definitely the a big deal there. You know, as much as I love the the luxury of streaming, you know, there is always whenever I'm using a streaming service, I always have that in mind. It's like, you know, I better watch this while it lasts, while it's still here, which is why Tubi tends to be my go-to streaming service because again, it's free. I think Retro Crush is still around. Retro Crush is basically Tubi but strictly for anime. I think there's another site called Freevee as well. That's
yeah,
also
Freevee. That's another one.
yeah, and you know, hey, they sometimes share the same libraries, but hey, you know, I'm not complaining for a free service.
I will never complain about a free service if he, um, but yeah, I'm just more of a proponent of like if I own it, they can't take it away from me.
Right. We'll have to pry it through my cold dead hands.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, man. Like since I
Mhm.
started collecting, like going hard and collecting Blu-rays, it's gonna sound
Yeah.
odd, but like my movie um, taste has changed. Not for the.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna sound like a pretentious movie prick here.
No,
For
no, hey. We our taste in films change as we expose ourselves to more, you know, more of what is out there. You know, it's a very natural thing for to have our preferences change as we age, as we go through life. Maybe at one point in your time you enjoyed this sort of thing, maybe you're feeling in the mood for another sort of thing, or maybe you decided to take a break and you came back and then you discovered you love the thing all over again.
yeah,
It's nothing wrong about that. I don't see it pretentious at all whatsoever.
well, I don't see it as pretentious either because like this is a perfect example of how I am as a collector now. I
Hmm.
literally the last two Blu-rays I got
Hmm.
were North by Northwest. You know,
Ah, Hitchcock, yeah.
yeah, just a it's peak cinema. You know,
Absolutely. For
absolute
sure.
cinema of Scorsese.
Unironically this time.
Unironically, the other movie was Mouse Hunt.
Ah, I remember Mouse Hunt. I still have the VHS at my parents' house.
Yeah, so I like when I bought it, I was like, auteur master class of cinema, Mouse Hunt. Can you guess which movie I watched first?
Mouse Hunt.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
And it's funny because like I could point at my Blu-ray collection, and I've got like Starship Troopers right next to Pulp Fiction, and that's sitting right next to King Kong Escapes. That's next
Hmm.
sitting next to yeah. It's just a hodgepodge, and don't get me wrong, I will always pick like a my taste in film.
Hmm.
I still have like a lot of like schlock and whatnot,
Yeah.
but I my taste in film has kind of grown. Like, have you ever heard of a producer named Val Luton?
Val Lewton, I can't say I have.
Val Luton was a producer for RKO Pictures before it
Mm.
went under, and he was head of their horror department. Now,
Yeah.
RKO had lost a lot of money thanks to one of Orson Welles' movies.
Hmm.
So, RKO basically told Luton and his team, "We're gonna give you a title, and you're gonna make a movie out of it." And
Huh.
basically Luton, they had a low budget, and it was more about what you didn't see. And actually, Luton is the reason we have jump scares
Oh wow.
in horror
Okay.
film. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
called the Luton Bus from his first picture, Cat People. Um,
Oh, I remember when James Rolfe covered that in one of his earlier, if not one of, I think yeah, one of his earlier Cinemassacre Monster Madness marathons.
yeah, so it was basically the first jump scare in a movie. It was called the Luton Bus technique, what we now know as
Yeah,
the jump scare.
yeah.
And Luton does these kind of films that I would at one point think were boring or uninteresting. But
Hmm.
I gotta tell you, man, I've collected two of his movies that he produced. I'm trying to collect all of them, and I
Hmm.
gotta tell you, like, for in the era of like 1940s, and there's hardly any monster, there's no like bombastic scares, it's all about atmosphere and tension.
Yeah.
It's almost like art house films. Like these are like ye old A24 films, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to be honest, man. It's kind of crazy that I'm now enjoying these films, because I guarantee you, like 10, 15 years ago, I'd find it fucking boring.
That is very interesting. You mentioned that. In a way, it kind of reminds me of these two movies I've been recommending in recent years to people. These were two films that were from my parents' childhood. They're two Mexican gothic horror films. I believe you can find both of them on YouTube, subtitled. One is called Even the Wind is Afraid, and the other is called The Book of Stone. And they're both very much so. Their horror is not so much like the shock value or blood splatter, gore, violence, or whatever. It's all based on these long, prolonged shots of wide open, beautiful spaces, but with just this very uncomfortable, isolating, eerie feeling as the tension grows. You know there's something out there, something beyond your control, and that it's coming for you, but you just don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
That sort of like paranoia settles in or starts to develop through these characters. Highly recommend these movies. Very, very much so like atmospheric based horror films. And the director is for both these movies were made by the same director. He was credited with sort of like bringing back this more subtler form of horror after the abundance of creature features throughout the 50s and 60s. Though I love me some good creature features, and in fact, I'm currently on another kick right now, collecting luchador films,
That's
because that was something. Go ahead.
like the El Santo movies.
Yep, Santo, Blue Demon, Mil Mascaras, those stuff, man. To my surprise, Santo has been getting a lot of his movies officially released in English, or not in, yeah, in English dubbed or English subtitled on Blu-ray from companies like VCI and Vinegar Syndrome. Um, some of them going out of their way to even create these special features with commentaries and interviews and retrospectives. While at the same time, I've also found interesting these eBay sellers who have been selling bootlegs with English subtitles of a lot of these other movies. Because Santo made like over 50 movies. There's so too many to count. He's picking fights with Dracula and Frankenstein and mummies
Man,
and
I
terrorists.
I'm shocked we never got El Santo in a Paul Naschy werewolf movie.
Yeah, well, funny enough, there is a movie where Santo fights werewolves. So, there's a little something for everyone there. So I've just
Man,
been sort of like slowly growing this collection of these movies because I grew up with a few VHSs back in the day, back in elementary school. My favorite especially was Las Momias de Guanajuato, the Mummies of Guanajuato, where it was the first time where the three most iconic wrestlers in all of Mexico, Santo, Blue Demon, Mil Mascaras, all teaming up on screen for the first time ever. It's like I was like the first one that I hunted down because that's like my all-time favorite.
yeah. Speaking of childhood recollection, I recently got Valley of Guanjay.
Oh, that's such a great movie.
Is it? Because
Fuck yeah, it is.
okay, I do love the movie. Don't get me wrong, I love the movie, but it had been decades since I'd seen the movie. I was a
Yeah,
kid. I was not 8, 9 years old when I had rented it from Blockbuster,
yeah,
and I remember loving the movie. And I always
yeah,
wanted. And when I found out, a friend of mine, same friend that got me the Ultraman Blu-rays, sent me
yeah.
Valley of Guanjay, and I'm watching it, and it is, whew, it is very of its time. Like the dialogue, especially. Um,
Mm.
I do love the movie. I think it's really cool,
Hmm.
especially Ray. You can't say anything wrong about Ray Harryhausen's
Hmm.
work, but holy shit, on a stick are the human characters. There is no one to root for here.
Nah, for me, I always found them incredibly charming. Although I've always found it funny that the lead characters was completely dubbed throughout the entire
Oh yeah,
production.
I realized like watching it again. I was like, is she dubbed? And I looked up. Yeah, she was dubbed. Um, Also, why does the professor talk like jutting out his bottom jaw?
I do not know, and I do not care.
Yeah.
I
The,
presume that's all all professors in the old West used to talk like.
I guess, but like that movie, it it is good. I do like it, but wow, it does take a while to get to the dinosaurs.
Oh no, you see that's why I love the movie, because it builds up to the dinosaurs. They show off the tiny prehistoric horse, and it's like, wow, what is this thing? It's like a tiny horse. Where did it even come from? And they build up that suspension to, well, where you get to that sort of like lost world like portion of the movie. I thought it was a really nicely paced movie that builds up well enough to the eventual dinosaurs.
Yeah, I don't hate the movie at all. Keep that in mind. I don't hate it. I'm glad I have it. I really am glad I have it in my collection because I'd be mad if I
Mhm.
didn't. Um, I'm
That's that's totally fine.
Yeah. There's also like a whole thing I've been on of like collecting movies I thought I would never get, like North by Northwest or
Mhm.
um, what was another one like uh, The Birds.
Mhm.
Um, there's also been like a like I have such an eclectic taste. I've made that note like looking at my Blu-ray collection shelves.
Mhm.
It is so crazy because again, you have like Cocaine Bear sitting next to The Godfather.
Hey, it doesn't it helps to have a diverse taste in film,
Yeah,
whether
like
it's, a diverse taste in music, a diverse taste in television. You don't have to, like I keep saying, you don't have to confine yourself to just that one specific thing.
yeah. Now I'm gonna like I was talking about with Val Lewton films. I'm
Yeah.
gonna give you a recommendation. You can find this on YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, it's a movie, one of his movies called The Leopard Man.
Okay.
And if you want to check out what Val Lewton's film was all about, like film style was all about with his crew, The
Yeah.
Leopard Man is a great version of that. It is not. You do not. Now I'm going to tell you right now. It's not a monster movie. It is more
Yeah.
of a
Well,
psych.
I'm out.
It's more of a psychological horror slash almost like a who done it almost,
Mhm.
but it's almost billed as a monster movie. Like it is kind of like, again, I don't think if you like told me that like 10 years ago, I would be like
Mhm.
hard pass. I want to see a Leopard Man, but
Mhm.
it's a lot different from that.
When are they gonna get to the leopard man?
But yeah, I would say check that out if you wanted to see what Val Lewton's films are like.
Mhm.
Beautifully shot, and another one of his films I really like, Isle of the Dead, has two solid jump scares that got me.
Mm.
Like two. And
Mhm.
usually I live in a world where it's like you're lucky if you get me to do one. Um,
Yeah.
but like to do it back to back in a movie from 1940, yeah,
Mhm.
that's something. And also, as an added bonus, that movie also has Boris Karloff in the film.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Um, so I do try, like it's kind of like I am trying really hard to get people to check these movies out because I feel like they're so unknown, because again, that was like
Mhm.
1940s. This was like the second era of the Universal monsters and things like that. And
Right.
I love those movies too, but like there's just something special about these films when I found them, and I actually found them through a YouTube channel called Dark Corners, and the video, like the documentary talking about the
Hmm.
just the passion behind the Val Lewton and his crew and these films, it made me want to check these movies out,
Hmm.
and I was not disappointed in the least.
That is wonderful to hear, man.
Yeah, sometimes it's a good recommendation, or it's like a that's how some of these movies get in here, is because it's a really good
Hmm.
recommendation, or I just see a
Hmm.
really good documentary about it. Like what was it? Another movie I have called Sundown: Vampires in Retreat. It's a movie
Hmm.
with Bruce Campbell as Van Helsing and David Carradine
Oh.
as Dracula,
Hmm.
and it's basically a movie where a Dracula has set up a vampire commune in the Arizona desert, and Bruce
Hmm.
Campbell plays a descendant of Van Helsing. It's more of a it's like a weird '90s horror comedy.
Uh-huh.
Um, I,
Which was the style at the time.
damn it, you beat me to it by like 1 second. You got me by like one fucking second, man. So yeah, that was.
Now let me go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
no, no. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say. Now let me give you an insane recommendation.
Uh, well,
Have you ever heard of the 2016 cult classic, The Greasy Strangler?
no, I have not.
Okay, so what would you say if I told you that The Greasy Strangler is the type of movie that you form a what was it, what's it called, where it's like you hate you what was it, like that syndrome where it's like you start to fall for, like, someone does something horrible to you but then you end up falling for them. It's, what was it, it's a movie where you hate it initially. You hate that you've ever watched it. You are so disgusted by what you are watching on screen, but then slowly, over time, it stays with you, and you begin to feel positive about it.
It's like finding a new kink.
Yeah, I guess so. And then you want to pass the torture off to someone else, and then watch their reaction towards the thing.
Oh,
And then
I do know that feeling of like, oh, this is so awful. I need to share this movie like a
but
mind virus.
here's the thing, it's not awful. It's a very competent movie that does exactly what it sets out to do. And it's a kind of movie that it was made solely because this was a movie that the director wanted to make, because he and only he found it entertaining. And I respect the hell out of that. It's like, this is a movie I want to make for me. And it's called The Greasy Strangler. It has a cult following. I met the stars of The Greasy Strangler in real life at a Days of the Dead convention. I took their photo, got their autograph, and everything.
That's awesome.
Um, they're great people, wonderful guys, especially Sky Elabar. Um, but words can't even describe what The Greasy Strangler is even about, other than because it just feels like a fever dream of a movie. If anything, it feels like a modern day Roger Waters movie, like, like Pink Flamingo, that kind of shit. Uh, so it's like, yeah, it's technically a surreal comedy where nothing really feels right. Everything just feels a little off. The acting feels off. It's not bad, it's just off. The dialogue is slightly off. The situations feels off. Reality itself feels very off. And that's all done intentionally. And that's what makes me love the movie, because of just how it's to say that it's weird is such an understatement. It's surreal. It's surreal in all the ways where it's like you start to appreciate it in a weird, morbid way. So I would recommend The Greasy Strangler. Oh, I would say, um, so Dylan and I we brought on Matt Burkett to our old podcast we used to do, fully endorsed.
Yeah.
And for Matt Burkett's choice, he's like, I'm gonna make you guys watch The Greasy Strangler,
It's
because by
oh
that
my
point,
god, it's like that Jeffrey Dahmer meme. We're just gonna watch some videos.
The Greasy Strangler's so cool. uh, so like it became like I was on Matt Burkett's live streams, the After Dark streams, where the Greasy Strangler kept coming up as a reoccurring joke, where they would just make like references to the movie, bullshit artist, and hootie tootie disco cutie, which makes you sound like a fucking madman for quoting that movie without any of the context in it. But he decided to unleash the wrath of the Greasy Strangler onto us. We said yes, let's go for it. And I literally went insane watching the movie. I was screaming to Dylan, saying, "What the fuck am I even watching?" Ah! Dylan was like, "We could have been watching a kiter, Andres." So, and you can watch that video. You can watch that review that Dylan, and Matt did all together.
The only thing that would
And
have made it better if Bill was there.
yes,
Like,
I
God,
swear to God, if I track down that guy, I'm going to subject him to the Greasy Strangler. But here's the thing: so this year at G Fest, we went to our friend, one of our friends' house who lived in Chicago, and I had seen it, he had seen it, Matt had seen it, our friend Nick Nick Fitkin had seen it, but we had a fifth friend who had not seen it.
oh boy.
So it was the four of us all sitting around him in our friend's living room. Like two of us, like we were all huddled around him. We grabbed his arm. He was not leaving that damn couch, and we were watching the movie, but also mostly watching him.
It was like that scene in Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, it's like, stop! I'm getting better.
Stop
I
it,
feel-
please! I beg you.
I feel pretty greasy already. I just remember like the first what the fuck moment. This was his genuine, honest to God reaction. Oh, what the fuck? And we were laughing throughout the whole time. We were laughing with the movie and we were laughing at our friend the entire time. It was truly a one of a kind experience. So I would recommend, and I get ready to be, you will be scarred for life. You will hate it. You will absolutely hate it, but then you will develop a love for it against your will.
Well, then you just have to be like, I have to share my pain.
But yes, The Greasy Strangler 2016, highly recommend it for all the wrong reasons. And if you want to talk about diversifying your exposure to films, look no further.
I am looking at stills. I am gonna pass.
No, you are going to watch it, and you
I-
are going to love it.
I don't think I could do it, man. I got a weak constitution. There's only so much like weird shit I can.
Prosthetics.
Yeah, I can't do it. Like I am gonna tap out right here.
I will say you will see your fair share of prosthetics here.
I have no doubt. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, this is too much for me. And I love insane, balls to the wall shit when it comes to movies, but like that, I already can tell you, like, it is
Bullshit artist. I say again, bullshit artist. BULLSHIT. New word. ARTIST. Bullshit artist. Bully bullshit artist. Real dialogue for the movie, by the way.
I don't doubt that. Yeah,
I actually got to call the Greasy Strangler himself a bullshit artist to his face.
it's nothing. Okay, so Andrew Ace, a mutual friend of ours.
Yes.
we had a running joke, and I don't think I ever told you this, where we would talk about like how Lloyd Kaufman, the guy who created Tromaville, would just
Yes.
go to people's offices at Troma Pictures and go, "I'm Lloyd Kaufman, kill yourself," and that was our running joke. Well, guess who I
Yeah.
got to meet at a convention not too long
The
ago?
Greasy Strangler. No. He got
Well,
to meet Lloyd Kaufman himself.
yes, and I was like, I don't know if he's gonna go for this, but basically, and I wish I recorded I recorded this, but I went up to him and I was like,
Mhm.
"Hey, so a friend of mine and I have this in joke, and we don't."
Where you go around telling people to commit suicide.
Yeah, that's kind of. I was like, "Look, we have this joke, and would it be cool if you just shouted that?" And he was like, "Oh, that's a capital idea," because you see, and he did use those words because Lloyd Kaufman's
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Yes, that would. You said that. I'm like, that would be something he would say.
And he goes, and then he just stands up. I swear
He
to
was
God,
ready. He was ready for this moment. His
Oh.
entire life was building to this moment in time.
swear to God, he stands up, at his at the little table, and he looks at the crowd, a line of people and other people at the convention, and shouts at the top of his lungs, "I'm Lloyd Kaufman. Kill yourselves!" And everyone just has this look of befuddlement and confusion, and other people are like, "Yeah!" Or like, Lloyd Kaufman told me to kill myself.
Oh yeah,
I'm
life
sure-
is now worth living. Ironically.
I don't know, like, this is going to sound a little morbid, but that is probably the most fun 13th reason someone will have. As arguably one of the most fucked up things I have ever said, but uh,
How'd he die? Kaufman.
God, I miss the
Damn it, Kaufman! I'll get you next time. And when I do, I'll throw the whole book at you. Hell, I'll throw the whole library at you.
I miss the old crew. I miss like I've missed, hanging out with you. I've missed, Bill, Dylan. Yeah.
Did you ever talk to David Gorizard?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay. Very few people have, I've noticed. But
Gorzard is always there, but like, he's like you have to believe he's there.
yeah, and you have to look in the mirror and say his name 3 times, and maybe, just maybe, you'll hear a little, "Oh, you dirty motherfuckers!"
Or he'll get stuck trying to climb out the window, out the mirror.
Probably, yes. That sounds like a very David thing to do. Yeah, I do definitely miss those days. But that's that's what happens in life. Life takes us all in different directions. Certain priorities come up. What do you call it? Like, it's kind of unpredictable in that way. Nothing ever really stays the same forever. People change, life changes, circumstances change, a whole lot of other things change, which is why, as I've grown older, I've come to really just sort of like accept the fact that, like, again, nothing lasts forever. So whatever you are enjoying, enjoy it for all it's worth in the moment. Enjoy every moment while you can. And even when you find yourself unable to return to simpler times, don't be sad that it's over. Be happy that it happened. And hey, it's just another opportunity to create new memories through the new circumstances in the next chapter of your life, which is eventually soon to come. It's definitely a thing I experienced myself when moving to Japan and eventually leaving Japan. Hell, it kind of reminded me of like high school, if you remember back in the day.
Yeah.
Where here are these friends of yours that you've known since freshman year of high school, or if not middle school, or even elementary school or kindergarten. And now here you are, ready to graduate, moving on to the next chapter of your life. And more than likely, there's a good chance you won't see the majority of your high school friends ever again. Maybe you'll see each other, but it won't be like it was before where you saw them on a daily basis. But again, that is life. You move on, and people go their separate ways, and you move on to a new situation with new friends that you make along the way, new memories that you make along the way, and so on and so forth. And that's what it was like for me when I made the decision to leave Japan and move back to America, because I knew that I wasn't happy where I was at. I felt like I had gotten all that I wanted out of my time there, and it like the home was calling me, and I was going to say goodbye to a lot of people I have grown to love over those 6 years. And there is part of me that does really, really miss them, but I still do not regret leaving Japan at all whatsoever. It's
Yeah.
just one of those things where it's like I am going to miss those times, but again, I have accepted the fact that it's like it won't be the same, but I was looking forward to the experiences that were to come. And again, to cut to almost 3 years later, almost 3 years, probably 3.5 years later since I moved back to the US, and I still do not regret it one bit. Am I sad? Absolutely. But I feel like it was an investment that helped me move forward, because that's another thing. You never want to find yourself in the same place for too long. You as life is changing and moving forward, you got to keep changing and moving forward, changing for the best. And what I meant to say, bettering yourself, moving on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, and I do think about like
Yeah.
what you told me in a conversation we had not too long ago, where it was
Hmm.
like, as long as you keep like the people who
Who truly matter.
truly matter, and trust me, I that circle is very small. I mean,
Hmm.
in real life, it's like in real life outside of YouTube, it is like
Hmm.
one, maybe two people, and you could probably guess what one of those two people are.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, you could probably get. Yeah, I don't think I need to go further, but like you guys already
Oh
know
no,
which.
we don't. Of course, we don't have to go. We don't have to get personal here,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah. Um,
But yeah, and
yeah,
that's definitely
but
true.
like
Hmm.
that's kind of the thing, is that like sometimes life just um yeah, it's something you don't I never thought about. I don't think about a lot, where I was like, I've never really given much thought of not seeing the friends I made in high school, probably
Hmm.
because a few of them turned out to be really awful people, and I
Hmm.
didn't really take into account that, like, was I really friends with them, or was I just really lonely and codependent?
Hmm.
And
But
I
hey, you know what? That's just something that happens. As you grow older and you change and you look back on on who you were back then and the people you that surrounded you. Um, like I said, it's just a natural part of life.
Yeah, I don't care if I'm a little vulnerable here. We're this video. I don't know how far people are gonna watch this video. Like,
Mm,
it's we're going. I'm looking at the counter. It's like we're well over an hour and a half.
yeah.
I doubt people like. I will be shocked if anyone
Let's
got
see.
this far.
Here's a challenge for anyone still listening. If you're still listening at this point, I want you to comment. Uh,
I'm
let's
Lloyd
see.
Kaufman.
That's it. I'm Lloyd Kaufman.
Yeah.
We will imagine we get like 50 people like I'm Spartacus. I'm Lloyd Kaufman. I'm Lloyd Kaufman.
And God help us if
Anyways,
like the actual Lloyd Kaufman is like, no, no, you're not. I'm Lloyd
I'm
Kaufman.
Lloyd Kaufman.
Kill yourselves.
Anyways, continue.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like you you do like think about that kind of stuff. Is like I've had friends in high school that I barely have any contact with now. One guy I used to
Mhm.
consider my best friend, and then he just went off the rails on the crazy meter.
Mm,
Um, I have no intention of reaching out again to him, and half the other friends I have
mhm,
made were like, were you guys even my friends, or were you like,
Hmm.
you know, was I just did it even matter? And
Hmm.
yeah, and I don't know if that says more about me than them.
I
Um,
would say that's probably a sign of maturation and growth. The fact that who you are today is not the same person you were back then. You are no longer that codependent person who needed those people in your life. You've grown beyond that stage of your life to
oh,
where you can look
trust me,
back and say, "I'm glad I'm not that person anymore."
oh
I would
yeah,
say, if anything, this is like something positive to reflect on.
oh yeah, but keep in mind, Andres, this was not a you know relate. This is not a revelation I made not to like years ago. This is something I made
Mhm.
a revelation I made like less than a month ago.
And
Hell, I
that's perfectly fine as long as you have that self-awareness. That is still a good thing, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. I think it like I think that's kind of the thing is like I literally meditated because again I'm doing a lot of therapy and
Hmm.
deep meditation and things like that. I had a epiphany while meditating, and it was literally,
Hmm.
God, I don't think I had I do not think I think I was codependent. I was pretty codependent in a lot
Hmm.
of my friendships. I was very codependent in a lot of the relationships I had because
Hmm.
God help me, I looked past so many red flags.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's something that I have kind of worked on myself is that, my own goddamn self-worth is, well, worth.
Hmm.
I don't know. What I do know, however, is that it just turned 1 a.m.
Yep. So I take it that's a sign to start wrapping things up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just like I kind of rambled, and I'm like it's also like
No, no, man. It's
it's mo-
also it's good, man. I would say, ultimately, I would say you absolutely have self-worth. Everyone has self-worth. And, I'm not a professional in any way. I'm probably in no position to be giving any sort of life advice
oh
to
no,
anyone.
I don't know, dude. You definitely like not to go too deep into our past conversations, but like you
Hmm.
definitely have been you were definitely a help when I was really, really, really low.
Thank you, man. Well, all I can say is that, I tried my best to be there for my friends. I genuinely care about the people in my life, and I want to be there for them like they have been there for me. you know and that's just my thing. I care about the people that are in my life, and I want to see them, um you know I want to make sure they're okay.
Yeah. Um. Yeah.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. Yeah. But
I'm not looking for any sort of reward or any. I'm not looking to be praised or whatever.
bullshit.
I just
I I call
no, no. I wasn't asking for that stupid best guy in the planet trophy. No,
sure
no.
thing, Kurobara. You straight up sounded like Kurobara from Yu Yu Hakusho.
You're a Meshi. But again, at the end of the day, I just want my friends to be okay, and I'm always willing to be there for them, and hopefully for anyone out there struggling, I hope that they have someone in their life that they can always depend on. Um, and if not, then it's definitely worth pursuing a strong support group and learning to appreciate what support group they do have, um, at that moment in time.
Yeah.
It's
Um.
all about forming genuine bonds with people, because I feel, I'm excuse me for going off on a little rant here, but it's like, in an era of social media, in an era where so many people are just constantly clout chasing, who are putting on personas to look a certain way, to act a certain way, to put themselves in a better light. It's very easy to find yourself putting on like a of sort of like a facade of some sort, to make you out to be something that you're not. Whereas, for me, I try to be as genuine as possible, especially when it comes to my personal life, to the people around me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a bullshit artist.
I should have known. Um, but yeah, it's not
Because
just
the internet is full of them.
yeah. Trust me, like it's not just you who really wanted to like help and do other stuff. Like, did I tell you this? Matt really wanted and still offers me to come move to New Jersey.
Oh
To
yeah, he did he offered the same thing to me during my big job hunt when I moved back to the US.
yeah. Um, I have thought about it. I've given a lot. I gave it a lot of thought, but like
Hmm.
at the same time, I'm like I don't know if I can make if I can make that jump and also on top of that like
Hmm.
live like the moving situation. God bless him. Um,
Hmm.
I like I don't know if I could put his like live with, and I'm not trying to say his family's bad or anything. I just don't want to like
Oh no,
feel.
I visited him on 2 occasions. His family is wonderful.
Oh, I'm sure his family looks amazing. I just feel like I don't like I would be kind of like a, a stranger there. Like does that make
Nah.
anything? Like I would just
I get what you mean. It's, nobody wants to be a burden on other people.
yeah. I and
All I'll ultimately say is, for one last bit of advice from Dr. Andres, Dr. Perez here, is that you need help and you need to find help. um, and that is, life is all about taking risks. If you're trying to play the safest life imaginable, it's definitely going to be a boring one. But when it comes to taking risks, you got to be smart and learn which risks are worth pursuing, which risks are worth taking, which are the risks where if things don't work out, you can still bounce back from.
yeah.
Because the last thing you want to do is take the kind of risks that will hurt you and leave a negative impression for the rest of your life. For me, it was definitely a big risk moving to, halfway around the world to Japan, a country that I don't speak the language of, the country that I barely knew anything about in terms of living over there. It was a huge risk moving out of not just my hometown, but just being that far away from my family, which I'd never been before. But I knew that my friend from high school was there. I knew that he was going to take care of me. I knew that I had a job there locked in, and that whatever happened, even if I got fired after a week, even if my visa didn't get approved, even if, for whatever reason I couldn't make it, I could still move back home and everything would be okay. So I took it upon myself to make that risk, to take that leap of faith, and everything worked out. And again, same thing coming back to the US. I was leaving a secure job, I was leaving a stable home life. But at the same time, it's like, if it doesn't work out, I can always just move back and start all over again. And again, it was a big risk, but it paid off in the end. Even moving from my hometown to where I'm currently at right now with my new job, another big risk, but again, I knew that I was safe. I knew that I had a strong support group regardless where I was. And I will say this, I am very, very, very fortunate to have had the people in my life who had helped me in every step of the way. And I would say that, a lot of that is due to the wonderful people I have met in life that I will always be eternally grateful for, who have helped me out. And again, it's why I want to help out people as much as I can, because that's how the people who helped me out, I was inspired by them. But anyways, basically the point I'm saying is that, it's always a risk to make that leap of faith. But I would say if it's something that you can bounce back from, definitely go for it.
Yeah. That's that's real that's something really good to end on. I got to be honest like
Hmm.
That's just absolutely perfect, my dude. Again, I don't know how far. This is always like I have not done one of these kind of podcast kind of episodes in a long
Hmm.
time. So
Mr. Multiverse and Kaiju Noir explore the universe. Boom. That's the title right there.
we are not also like we're not therapists.
We're
We are this.
we're not therapists, we're not professionals, we're not doctors. We're just two guys bullshitting, shooting the breeze, just saying whatever is on our mind. Don't take us seriously. We don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So on that note, Andre, Andres, God, it was
Yeah,
so great doing this video with you. It was great to catch up and just kind of just shoot the shit.
absolutely, man. It's been a great time. I hope people appreciate the things we had to say, or at the very least, I hope they were entertained by the things we had to say. I will definitely say that if you are interested in following me, you can follow me over on YouTube at Kaiju Noir. I don't post that often, but when I do, it's always a fun time. You can definitely follow stuff that I'm more spend more of my time on, which is comic books, novels, and recently Blu-ray special features. You can find out all the latest updates to my other projects outside of YouTube on Instagram at Kaiju Noir, over on Twitter at PW underscore Draco Azul, and on Facebook at Primal Warrior Draco Azul. It's my, Draco Azul happens to be my passion project I've been doing since 2019. I have the first 3 issues out over on Amazon. I also have 3 novels of Draco Azul out right now. Also did a crossover book, a post-apocalyptic kaiju novel, kaiju mecha novel crossover with Matthew Denian, also available on Amazon. Atomic Rex Ballad of Bravura. And you can find out all that stuff and much, much more through the uh, social media tags that I have mentioned just now.
All right. I was going to say like, hey, you got anything to promote? You just dove right for it because I feel like this is second
Like
nature
I
for
said,
you.
man, I'm the shill master. I've been I take great pride in my ability to shamelessly shill myself.
I have not yet begun to defile myself. I hope
Take
someone.
my Draco Azul, take it home in boxes, take it home in cases. If your parents try to stop you, just throw it in their faces.
We just went from a Tombstone reference to a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie reference.
Fuck yeah.
It,
That's what life is all about.
yep. And on that note, I am gonna call it a night. And yeah. So other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the multiverse.